I had the Rams as my underrated team. And underrated meaning I think they could win a game or two in the playoffs. I I don't think I could see them going to the Super Bowl, but reasons for that, McVay's a really good coach. I think he's pivoted from getting shut down in the Super Bowl. And last year, I feel like Goff wasn't that great, but they've done better this year, to say the least.
Right, they've done better around Goff this year,
Yeah,
and Goff has kind of
yeah.
been the same.
And then the receivers, Woods is amazing. Cup is good. They haven't suffered like too much of a loss from getting rid of Cooks. So I still think their offense is good. And then more importantly, I didn't realize how good their defense was until you look at it. They're number 2 in points against. Donald and Ramsey they're amazing. Troy Hill's a good corner too, and
He's awesome.
They've been getting a lot of turnovers, which has helped them. So, and not to mention, they're also playing in like debatably the best division. I'd say a top 3 division in the NFC West. Like the lowest wins is the Niners, and they have 4 wins, which that's more than the NFC.
Right.
So, like their division's good too. It's not like they're just beating up on bad teams. So I think the Rams I think they can win a game or two in the playoffs.
Okay. So my underrated team is going to sound crazy because they're a team that's not even in playoff contention right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the Minnesota Vikings. To me, the Minnesota Vikings are one kind of fluky loss against Tennessee and one game of Russell Wilson magic away from being 5-3 instead of 3-5. And again, I think it's kind of clear what kind of teams I like. I like physical teams that have a clear identity. And the Minnesota Vikings, like the Tennessee Titans, have a clear identity, and that's to run the football and run the football with Dalvin Cook. And I think Kirk Cousins, when you have an offense with a strong running game, is a really good player because he's good in play action. He's a smart quarterback, and he makes good decisions, and he throws a pretty good deep ball. And Justin Jefferson is proving to be a very, very good player. He might be the best of this ridiculous receiver class. And Thielen is rock solid. And Zimmer seems to have that defense improving. I think maybe you can argue that they're a little over they rely too heavily on the superstardom of Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
Which I think is a valid argument against them. But as long as those two are healthy, I think their defense can play good football. And Dalvin Cook is so good. And they're finding ways to just run the football. And if you can run it, I really think that they're going to be a problem. Their schedule isn't that hard. I think the Bears are starting to fall off. And I think Minnesota is going to I think if they pick up steam, I think they're going to be a team nobody's going to want to play in the playoffs, especially if they can keep Kirk Cousins' pass attempts to a very, very limited amount because you don't want him throwing the ball in the playoffs.
Yeah. So I could see why you'd like the Vikings. Like Dalvin's obviously been amazing. Their defense has performed I'd say they'd overachieved. Dalvin for president. He's probably been the best running back in the league this year. I'd say overall, you could argue McCaffrey.
Kamara and Henry, whoa. They're
really
many good running backs.
Yeah, there's a lot. But the same thing with Kirk Cousins still applies. Do you want to see that man on Sunday Night Football? If you're the other team, you do, but if you're a Vikings fan, you don't. He doesn't win primetime games. And their defense, they are one injury from, I'd say their 3 best players are Kendricks, Harrison Smith, and then Anthony Harris. If Kendrick,
Barr or Harris, one of the two.
Yeah. Barr's good too. But I'd say Harris, so Harrison Smith and then Kendricks are their best 2. If one of those dudes goes down, that defense is bad. And their corners are all rookies or younger players, so
but they're starting to get better, right? Mike is starting to play better.
Zimmer's a good DC. He's not a DC, but he's a good play caller for their defense. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins, and their O-line is still not that great, which is a problem.
Yeah.
They can run block really well.
They can't pass protect, no.
Yeah. So I could see them making a push for the playoffs, especially because there's 7 teams now, and they're thinking about switching it to a 16-team playoff. So there was 8 spots. That's a contingency, so I'm not going to say that it's definitive, but
that would be brutal to me. If they go 16 spots, I would hate that.
Yeah, that'd be too much. There'd just be not a lot of good teams, and the amount of injuries from the extra games too. But that's all contingent on like
Right. That's a topic for another day when it
yeah,
actually happens. We don't want to talk hypotheticals.
yeah.